on Casino Royale with cheese.
So George Lucas was married to the editor of the film at the time. Her name was Marcia Lucas. Even though she's been remarried and stuff, she still goes by Marcia Lucas, which if I was one of her newer husbands, it seems trivial, but would bother me. But whatever.
It depends. Did she make me sign a prenup or not?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, the prenup does change shit. So
if there's no prenup, I will call her Mrs. Lucas if she wants me to.
call her whatever she wants. You can call her fuck farts if she wants, you know.
And now, the conclusion.
You don't know the power of the dark side.
Maxie bit the Force.
That's not how the Force works.
Where are you taking this thing?
You came nothing? You're braver than I thought.
I can hold it.
Pull up!
No, I'm all right.
Well, we won't be seeing him again.
Hello, what have we here?
I thought they smelled bad. On the outside.
I find your lack of faith disturbing.
At last we will reveal ourselves to the Jedi. At last we will have revenge.
Remember, the Force will be with you, always.
Don't do that again.
Live from our studios in a galaxy far, far away, it's Casino Royale with Cheese, starring your host, who's got a nose like Watto, Shane Burns.
Thank you, everybody. This is Casino Royale with Cheese, the internet show where we discuss movies that were number one at the box office exactly 20 years ago. 20 years, Mike. Where does the time go, man? I don't know.
It goes fast.
It's fucking crazy, dude. This is episode 70.
70?
So, yeah.
70 fucking episodes. We haven't missed a week yet.
70 episodes.
Are we going to start getting paid for this job or what?
We've been late a couple times, but we never missed.
Oh,
so
okay.
we still have perfect attendance. We just got a couple tardy slips.
Oh.
Yeah.
You still get the trophy at the end of the year for that one? Or
I don't know. We should ask the manager.
Yeah.
See what's up. Today I'm joined by the man who lost all of his money because he bet on Quadraneros in the pod race. This is Mike.
I'm such an idiot.
That was stupid.
I knew the favorite was Anakin. What was I doing?
Wow, what a dumbass.
More excitedly, we're joined by a guest today. My brother, Mr. P, a.k.a. Preston.
Yo, what up, guys?
What's up, brother?
Thanks for having me back.
Yeah, how you doing, man?
Good. Ready to talk about the Star Wars shit.
Hell yeah.
He's here to talk about episode 1.
He's our first repeat guest.
Ooh.
Actually, so yeah, I believe he's a veteran.
Trailblazer.
Yeah, you're kind of like the John Goodman of Casino Royale with Cheese, because he's like had the most guest appearances on SNL or whatever.
John Goodman has?
I think so.
That makes sense.
It might have been Steve Martin, actually.
It might have been Steve Martin.
Yeah,
or
he's on there all
Alec
the
Baldwin.
time. Yeah.
Ooh.
Oh, Alec was on there a lot.
Especially with
Donald Trump.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's been on there a shitload of times. I think they mean as hosts, though, not just like
as hosts.
Yeah, not just cameo appearances. It doesn't really count if you're doing 30 Rock, so you literally you walk 20 feet near the SNL studio. So, but Mike's over there doing something, little interpretive dance.
Yeah.
Damn, Mike, he's trying to squeeze around. Oh, we got something going on. He's grabbing a book. I think it's so he can feel taller. No, we had to go through, unfortunately, and he's getting Preston something to prop his mic. We had to, unfortunately, go through. Mike caused us a little bit of turmoil earlier, but we are recording good to go now. And Mike has returned. So
I'm here.
There's your play-by-play.
Yeah.
No, I'm glad you're here, Preston.
Glad to be
here. I think
here.
it's awesome. And I know that basically you have to kind of do something special for Star Wars Episode 1 because it was such a hyped up movie and it was so historically disappointing to so many people. it's just something that you have to have somebody in to talk about it with, to try to reconcile this whole situation, you know?
Yeah.
So,
especially somebody who's a Star Wars fan.
Yeah.
It's another point of view.
It's kind of group therapy for us here today, you know?
Yeah.
So, you know, I don't. Normally we do a little small talk and all that. Mm-hmm. I'm out the window with that on this episode. I want to talk about the hype.
Oh, God.
Leading up to the premiere of Episode 1 in the theaters. Do you guys remember that shit?
Oh, man.
Yes.
It was crazy. Can I tell a story about that?
I mean, might as well.
Yeah, I guess so.
Go for it.
There was this dude that... So you guys remember when we talked about A New Hope? I don't know if Preston's listened to that episode yet, but... Oh, okay. Preston's the only one I know that is on the fucking ball. There's that one dude that said our videos suck or something, and like he seems to watch a lot of our shit. But no... So I mentioned that I had watched Star Wars, and then I didn't get to rewatch it until years later. And so we grew up in a Star Trek house, more so than anything. My dad's come around with Star Wars because of me, but it wasn't always that way. Anyway, so this buddy of mine was staying the night with us, and sure enough, we were out swimming because we had a pool at this house. It was in Kansas City or whatever. And he was talking about how there's supposed to be a new Star Wars. And I was like, holy shit, that's fucking awesome, you know? And he was like, oh yeah, he's like, it's crazy, you know? And he started talking about how Luke got his hand cut off and shit. I was like, oh, I never saw that one, you know? So, but he's like, well, you gotta watch the originals before you watch the new one. So I had heard about this like 3 or 4 years before, and this dude was full of shit because all the time he was talking about how they're gonna make an Ace Ventura 2 and a Dumb and Dumber 2 and a Mask 2, or Ace Ventura 3, I guess. And the Mask 2, and I guess a lot of those were supposed to happen, and they even advertised them in like Nintendo Power and shit, but a lot of that shit never happened. So I was like, well, this kid's full of crap. And so then I went to go watch the movie Wing Commander with Matthew Lillard from Scooby-Doo fame.
Oh, Jesus.
And it was Freddie Prinze Jr. was in that one too. So,
golly.
just hanging out, you know. You want to do a space movie, bro? So I watched that, and sure enough, this was one of the previews for that. Was the Episode 1 trailer, and I lost my fucking mind because all this time I didn't know anything about it, and then sure enough, holy shit, dude, we're like months away from this. I mean, I think it was closer to a year, but it was still nuts though. And so, and of course, the trailer for it made this movie look fucking awesome. All you see is like these droves of battle droids like marching into battle. And you see where Anakin's like in a pod racer, except you don't really know what it is. All you can see is he's like traveling super fucking fast. There's this fucking bad guy that looks like Satan, and fucking like the whole thing was just out of control, and the hype for it. And then like Taco Bell and Pizza Hut and all those guys started their merchandising shit, and that was off the chain with Pepsi. And dude, everything was going Star Wars ape shit.
People were camping for fucking days.
Oh yeah,
for the premiere of this movie.
I would imagine maybe even weeks. I don't know about that.
I'm sure some of the hardcores.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't put it past it.
Yeah,
a week, 2 weeks.
What was your experience like leading up to this?
Initially, my experience in the Star Wars universe was I saw Return of the Jedi first.
Oh,
when I was a kid.
That's not a solid move.
Nowhere to go from there, but down,
not knowing what's going on.
Yeah.
So I have an affinity for Return of the Jedi.
But it's still a cool movie, yeah.
And then eventually I saw the other two. And when I first heard that Episode 1 was going to come out, it was going to be a prequel, we had to see how it all started.
Right.
It was kind of like, cool. I was like, let's see how Darth Vader became Darth Vader.
Shit, yeah.
Put some stuff together from Episode 4 where you're just like, okay, that makes sense now. I actually did not see it in the theaters when it came out. I was in the process of transitioning from Florida to Oklahoma. So a lot of stuff took place where I wasn't able to see it until later.
Were you pretty pissed about that, or
not really?
Not really.
Well, all of my background in Star Wars, knowing the expanded universe and all the other stories, what's going on, that didn't come until later as I got older.
Right.
So it wasn't really important for me to see it, especially at that time, because I was big into sports at that time.
Mm-hmm.
So my nerdiness kind of took a back seat for about 5 years.
Right.
From 8th grade to graduating high school. And it kind of just grew from there, reading more, learning more about the universe.
I hear you.
I, on the other hand, was geeked the fuck out for this movie, dude.
Mike, you're still in the Marines.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
So did you and your jarhead buddies get to go out and...
No, I actually took a young lady with me.
Bring lightsabers and shit?
No. I never let my nerd shine, all right?
No, you really don't.
I keep my nerd hidden, tightly packed away in the closet.
That's true.
He's in there and he's loud. So he's like, you got to go see this fucking movie. So I took a young lady with me. We went and watched this movie, and I was a little embarrassed because she didn't know anything.
Last time you saw that girl.
She didn't know anything about fucking Star Wars.
And then you bring her the worst one.
She liked it.
Really?
Yeah. But anyways, I was really excited. I'm pretty sure I went opening weekend. If it wasn't opening weekend, it was the following weekend. But there was still a lot of people there. And I was so stoked. And then I left the movie theater so perplexed.
Yeah.
Like, what? And let me tell you why. Okay. And we're not going to go into the movie too much. I'll let you do your thing, and we'll get into all that. But just the delivery of the dialogue, for me, in the whole movie.
It's not good.
It's like, I want you to sign this peace treaty. My people shall not sign a peace treaty without our benefit. Just shit like that. And I'm like, what the fuck?
Natalie Portman in this, who is a good actress.
A great actress.
But George Lucas just really didn't know what to do with her. And so I can imagine this poor girl's acting against a green screen. She has no idea what the fuck's going on, And so she's just kind of like, I'm just going to say it. And then I hope it's the right thing,
So let's get into it. This movie was number one in 1999. How long was it number one for, Shane?
Oh, by the way, I got to watch it at midnight. Oh. So you guys know.
You opening night?
Yeah, opening night. Oh. It was pretty cool. I did that with all the prequels.
I did for the second two, episode 2 and 3.
Yeah. Oh, I have a way better story for episode 2. So we went to this AMC 20 that's right down the road over here by the mall. And so anyway, freaking, we go and there's a huge line, and they've have like all 20 theaters are showing Star Wars, of course. And so it's a deal where we go in and everybody's pretty much guaranteed a seat because it's a long line, but you got stadium seating in these fucking huge auditoriums, It should be fine. But sure enough, they're packing these things up, and I'm like the front row, very far left-hand side to watch this fucking movie.
I've been to one of those before. Like that.
If I would have fallen back in line like 3 spots, I would have gotten in the fucking next theater, middle of everything, But I got stuck in that shitty ass seat. So
I've done that before in one of those seats. It was terrible.
Terrible. Yeah, it sucks. Let's take a look here and see what we have for box office stuff. So that's not right. I looked at that and was really surprised for a second.
You're thinking out loud, Shane.
I know. Well, so I look at my phone where I usually have this screenshotted. I guess I didn't screenshot it this time. But it said that this movie was made on $11 million budget. And I was like, no, it wasn't.
The original?
The original Star Wars was, yes. Let's see here. Guys, talk about something right quick.
We're talking about Star Wars. That's what we're here for.
Bunch of Star Wars.
We are here talking about
the
some
good,
Star
the bad,
Wars.
and the ugly.
Preston,
so bad and ugly.
You would say that your favorite is Return of the Jedi?
Yes.
Yeah. I've always been more partial to The Empire Strikes Back. A lot of people are. But,
yeah. I mean, pure storytelling.
Right.
Empire is the best out of all 6 of the original ones.
There's a lot of emotional shit going on in Jedi at the end, though, too.
Yes, there is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Which one's the one with all the Ewoks?
That's Jedi.
That's the best one.
Mm-hmm.
See, I disagree. That's okay. This movie was made on a budget of $115 million.
Whoa, so. Liam Neeson got paid, son!
Yeah, he did. I was really surprised because, for whatever reason, I didn't even think about it when I first saw this movie about him being the same dude from Schindler's List. And so, he's had kind of a weird career, this guy,
But, yeah, it never even crossed my mind whenever I saw him in it. I was like, who's this guy?
Yeah, exactly.
He was so anxious to play the role in the movie that he never even read one word of the script before he accepted the role.
Wow.
I mean, you're gonna know that the movie's huge,
right?
So it's like, yeah, I'll take it. I'll take whatever part you give me. So
it's true, man.
It's like I don't care what the lines are. I'm going to be in a Star Wars movie,
right?
I'm going to be a part of history. So take it.
Well, and that was kind of George Clooney's way of thinking, doing Batman.
Yeah.
Is that he knew the movie was garbage. He's even gone out on record and like made fun of it and like apologized for it publicly and stuff. But you're still playing Batman, at the end of the fucking day. I mean, how could you say no to that?
Right.
So, this movie, we already kind of spilled the beans that it was number 1 at the box office for 3 weeks. Yeah, since we had to steal one from we stole one from The Mummy to round out Star Wars month.
Okay.
Movie overall domestic grosses from both Preston and Mike. What's your guess?
Go ahead, Preston.
I'm gonna put it 1.2 billion.
Oh,
Mike,
he stole my answer.
Nah.
Yeah, I was gonna say $1 billion and be like all dramatic and shit, but he already beat me.
Yeah. That's final answers, huh?
No, 350 million.
350.
We're talking about opening weekend?
No, total.
Total? Yeah, I'm sticking with billion.
Okay. Well, Mike's way closer. It brought in a total of $474 million. Okay. So, altogether, now this may have thrown you off a bit because that is just the domestic take. So, internationally, it brought in $1.02 billion. So, you were kind of close with your guess.
Super
internationally.
Close.
So,
we don't work like that in this show, though, Shane.
No.
Preston.
No, we do not, unfortunately.
That's all right.
So you haven't seen this. Which would you say of... Because I am very much a strong purporter of the fact that... Because whenever the prequels came out, I got super excited about them. I was all ready to watch them. And I even went through and was like, well, maybe this is why... and try to like retcon in explanations of stupid shit that George Lucas... didn't make sense. Like, why in episodes 2 and 3 can R2-D2 fly, but you never see him do that again. Just dumbass shit like that. Even though that's just a dumb idea anyway.
Yes.
So I actually think that all 3 of them are pretty much equally bad. If I had to watch one, it would probably be episode 3. Because you do get to see some Star Wars type shit in that movie. But overall, they're all pretty bad, I think. I don't know.
I mean, they gradually get better, I would say, but they're still on such a low bar.
Right.
It's disheartening.
It's like, would you rather have malaria or the bubonic plague? Pretty much. Yeah. So, actually, I'll be completely honest with you too, man. I feel as though episode 2, in a lot of ways, is unfortunately worse than episode 1. If nothing else, for the simple reason that I don't find it at least as entertaining. There's nothing in it as cool as like the last lightsaber duel in this movie and that movie,
Yeah.
But it does have like a darker tone to it, so if that's your thing, maybe I could see some enjoyment there. But I think it's probably pretty bad.
We're still talking about this movie?
We're talking about episode 2.
Oh.
Yeah. Michael's over there spaced the fuck out.
I thought we were here to talk about episode 1, so.
Yeah.
We'll get to that fire.
Yeah. Have you seen or heard of the theory that Jar Jar Binks is like this Sith Lord that's like this man behind the scene, like a double agent sort of?
Everybody for a fool. Yeah, I've heard it.
He's like actually like super smart, super powerful dude that just plays like he's a fucking retard. So that he like is totally off the radar or whatever. It's crazy.
Not buying it.
No,
yeah.
Somebody would have picked up on it.
Well, and that's the thing, is that I mean they didn't pick up on Palpatine until episode 3, I guess, and he's around him the entire time. I mean, they didn't ever sense him. But I guess my thing about it is, if that is the case, because there are interviews where George Lucas is saying like, no, Jar Jar is like the key to everything while they're filming it, whatever. He's not the key to anything in this movie except my headache. However, people have theorized that basically after the Jar Jar backlash in this movie, that he decided to veer off in another direction altogether and pick up on Count Dooku and all that shit. So, I don't know.
I will go on record and state I wasn't as hateful of Jar Jar as everybody else that watched this movie.
Yeah.
The movie wasn't bad because Jar Jar Binks was in it.
This movie's bad for a lot of reasons.
Yes.
There's no one thing that makes it real bad.
Who's this movie about?
Nobody. I mean, there's no main
who's
character.
It's supposed to be about?
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't get introduced to the protagonist of the Skywalker bloodline until 45 minutes into the movie.
Right. It's not about him.
Episodes 1 through 6, including the new trilogy recently, is all about the Skywalker family. So when you start this movie out and you don't see him, because we all know who we're looking for at this point, is
Right.
Anakin Skywalker. He's not in the movie.
Right.
So you're like, where are you going with this? It's a little off-putting. I think it's a little jumbled. They could have put some sequences in front of others just to set a better tone of why are we watching this movie.
Yeah, I agree. And I will say, too, that if you were to make an argument for who this movie is really focusing on, I would say possibly Qui-Gon Jinn. However, if that's the case, we really don't learn anything about him.
No.
He's a little bit rebellious against the Jedi Council.
He's an older, stern Jedi.
Right.
That's his role.
But it's a deal where, I mean, they never mention him, obviously, in the original trilogy, and they only mention him maybe a couple of other times in these movies. So
yeah,
there's really no point for him to even be the main character in this. But it's not Obi-Wan either, because he doesn't really do anything that Qui-Gon's not doing.
Nope.
So I have no idea.
I'm ready to dive in, but you got a summary for us?
I do have a summary.
Let's get it.
All right. Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, released May 19th, 1999, as Star Wars' triumphant ? Returned to cinemas after a 16-year hiatus. It was directed by George Lucas, the man who thought this was good. The opening crawl isn't as informative this time. It elaborates that prior to the Empire, the Old Republic was a governing body that supposedly represented all of the settled planets in the galaxy by way of the Galactic Senate. One of the planets in the Republic is Naboo, which has recently fallen under trade sanctions by a trade organization within the Republic called the Trade Federation. Not only are there sanctions, but the Trade Federation has blockaded the planet, my apologies. Now 2 Jedi are being sent to negotiate on behalf of the Republic and end hostilities, even though chronologically we aren't aware of what a Jedi even is. So, this movie just opens, it's like 2 Jedi are going to go do some shit. Whoa, why don't you slow the fuck down there, dude?
The one thing I want to touch in this opening crawl about the Jedi. Now, this opening crawl says they dispatched 2 Jedi Knights to negotiate with the Trade Federation.
Right.
Not 3 minutes later, Qui-Gon calls Obi-Wan a Padawan. He's not even a knight yet.
He's not a knight.
He doesn't get promoted to knight till the very end.
Until the very end.
Yeah.
So it's like, you already fucked up.
Right. Let's see here what else we've got. As the film opens, the 2 Jedi Master Qui-Gon Jinn and his apprentice Obi-Wan Kenobi. So I got it right. The movie didn't get it right. I fucking nailed it, but whatever. Arrive aboard the Trade Federation Viceroy's blockade ship, where said Viceroy has just received orders from a cloaked figure to kill the 2 Jedi. They fortunately escape aboard a smaller ship, only to realize that it and the other ships are intended to carry out an invasion of Naboo. On the planet of Naboo, we meet the planet's leader, Queen Amidala, who, like France in World War II, stands by and awaits her planet's militaristic occupation. Fortunately, the 2 Jedi meet a seemingly amphibious creature named Jar Jar Binks, who soon takes the Jedi to the leader of his civilization, Boss Nass. Boss Nass, sharing the sentiments of the viewer, hates Jar Jar and the inhabitants of Naboo, and through some smooth Jedi powers, even though we don't know what those are, is persuaded to provide the Jedi Jar Jar trio transportation to the capital city on Naboo. Scrolling down, sorry. There, the Jedi rescue Queen Amidala and her aides, AIDS, by the way, then successfully steal a ship with plans to take Amidala to the Republic's capital planet, Coruscant, where Amidala can appeal to the Republic on her planet's behalf. Unfortunately, their ship is damaged in the fight. Low on fuel, the group head to the remote planet of Tatooine to fix their ship, a seemingly brilliant idea when you're low on fuel. There, the trifecta of Qui-Gon, Jar Jar, and Padme, the Queen's handmaiden, set out to find the parts to repair their broken ship. Their exploration takes them to the salvage yard of one Watto. Is it still racist if you can't tell what race is being made fun of? Qui-Gon finds the part they need, but Watto tells him that they can't use Republic credits for legal tender as Tatooine is too far away. The Republic really has no presence there at all. We also soon find out that Watto has a young slave boy in his employ named Anakin Skywalker, who is the post-pubescent Padme takes an instant liking to. Anakin takes the trio to his house with his mom, and there he hatches a plan to use the Queen's broken ship as collateral and a wager to win the parts Qui-Gon needs. Betting is often a regular occurrence on Tatooine, apparently, and the competition of choice to bet on is pod racing, a high-speed race. It seems that Anakin has been assembling a pod of his own to race in, and he thinks he can win. Qui-Gon agrees, and after he discovers Anakin's mom was a victim of Immaculate Conception, making Anakin Space Jesus, Qui-Gon feels Anakin's strong connection to the Force. He decides to raise the stakes against Watto, betting the pod that Anakin built for Anakin's freedom if he wins. While all this madness is transpiring, the cloaked figure pulling the Viceroy's strings sends his apprentice, a devilish-looking Darth Maul, to search for the wayward Queen, hoping that she will be recovered and will sign a treaty making the Naboo invasion legal. The pod race takes place. I'll save you 15 minutes and just say Anakin wins. Qui-Gon takes Anakin and the part to fix the ship, and they all set out to Coruscant, but not before they're attacked by Darth Maul. Their escape goes better than their pleas to the Senate go, however, as the Senate wants to send a commission to investigate the invasion. The Jedi have little luck either, as the Jedi Council decides that training Anakin is not a priority, so they all say fuck it and head back to Naboo. Back on Naboo, Queen Amidala makes contact with the amphibious species on Naboo, the Gungans, and they hatch a plan to distract the Trade Federation military while Queen Amidala and her troops storm the castle, attempting to capture the Viceroy. Oh, and we learn that the Queen has been masquerading as a fake Queen's handmaiden. Shyamalan, eat your heart out. Things go off seemingly well as the Gungans show some prowess against the Trade Federation military. The castle storming is also successful until the Jedi run into Darth Maul again. We also get to see Anakin win a space battle against the Trade Federation droid control ship, which leaves the ground forces dysfunctional. The only real blow that is dealt is that Qui-Gon is killed at the hand of Darth Maul, who Obi-Wan in turn also kills. The Viceroy is captured, the Trade Federation is told to piss off, the cloaked figure is still mysterious, and Naboo lives in peace. Oh, and Naboo's Senator Palpatine is made Chancellor of the Republic somewhere in there. Probably the last we'll hear of that. This film stars Prince Voltan and Zod.
Jesus, Shane.
Yeah. Went over every detail.
That was a long summary.
A lot happens, bro. So, I mean, not really, but anyway.
I'm pretty exhausted after that, actually.
Yeah, Mike's going to go 9-9.
I think I'm ready to call it a wrap.
All right, may the force be with you.
One of the things I want to talk about first is the fact that I really don't think that this is a movie, per se. It's more of like a toy commercial, like a visual effects reel. I don't think that George Lucas really had the story in mind when he was writing this. It was all the fucking money he would make on the back end, unfortunately.
He definitely had certain plot points he wanted to hit as the fan service kind of just pieced the puzzle together. Mm-hmm. But he knew he needed to bring in a new audience because the old audience was coming no matter what.
Right.
So what does he do to get that new audience, all the kids? Bring as much light and joy and toys, possibilities you possibly can.
Right.
He didn't take a directorial or producing salary. He wouldn't take it on the back end on merchandise. So he knew what he was doing. He absolutely knew what he was doing.
He made some fucking money though
easily
off the shit.
Yeah.
That was crazy. All the fucking toys.
Everything was licensed. Star Wars.
Yeah.
You name it.
We had McDonald's toys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Taco Bell had the cups with the toppers on it.
Mm-hmm. I still have my Darth Maul, actually, the topper for it. I don't think I have the cup anymore. But I remember like 7-Eleven had Star Wars shit that they were selling with their fucking big gulps, you know.
Just ridiculous.
Just everything, yeah. There's a lot of shit. It's one thing I wrote down was discuss the crazy amount of marketing at the time.
Oh, it was huge.
Nuts. Yeah.
This country was crazy.
Real crazy.
Coming up to the opening of this movie.
Real crazy. As much hype as there was, I think, about whenever Episode 7 came out, The Force Awakens, I don't even think it really comes close to this amount of hype.
No.
It was nuts, man.
Nicole and I went and watched Episode 7 in the theater the week it came out.
Yeah.
We didn't go opening weekend, but like a couple days later. And we had plenty of room. And we sat right where we wanted to.
We went opening, I think it was Saturday night. So it wasn't Friday, but it was still, busy movie night. And it's a Star Wars movie. We went and, I think I went and got tickets before we ate dinner. Went and ate at that one place that was right by it at the mall. Then came back and we were just fine. Fucking nothing.
I went opening weekend for Episode 7 and it was packed.
It was packed. Yeah.
And this was at 10 o'clock in the morning. So
really,
but
I was living in New York. Nothing really ever gets packed.
But when Episode 1 came out, though, every theater was packed.
Oh yeah,
for days.
Oh yeah,
because we kind of had a precedent of what we wanted to see in these prequel movies. With this one, we only read about the expanded universe and stories that other people wrote on what happens to them in the future, what happens in the universe.
Right.
When they went and retconned all of it and said, none of that happened.
Right.
It kind of turned people off. You're just kind of like, okay, then what happened? And we get Rey.
Yeah,
so it's like,
there you go. Now, this happened instead.
What happened to the twins? What happened to Luke's kids? What happened to Luke's wife?
Yeah.
Luke had a wife? What?
Mara Jade, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nothing.
See, I don't know anything about any of that.
Well, I know very limited, but I used to play a lot of the Star Wars games. Yeah. But I never read a lot of the books. The only one I ever read was Shadows of the Empire. But I did play a lot of the games, and some of the characters in the expanded universe shit would cross over every so often into that. So, but
which, if I'm not mistaken, all the games are still canon.
Oh, there you go.
So
that's good stuff.
Shadows of the Empire, which was a fantastic game, that is still canon,
right?
To Empire Strikes Back.
So all the stuff from like the 501st and all that shit, and like Battlefront, and from the old ones, and shit, that still counts. Yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. Speaking of Star Wars games, Mike, you mentioned one last week.
Pod Racer.
Yeah.
Pod Racer.
On N64, that game was so fucking cool.
It is fun.
For me, this is probably the second biggest highlight of Episode 1 is the pod racing scene. There's a lot of action. It is intense, and the little stupid boy says it that it's intense. It's crazy.
Yeah.
But I mean, it took speeder bikes from Return of the Jedi to a whole new level.
It did,
and with the increase in CGI. The visual of it made it incredible.
Whereas the CGI in the rest of the movie, I think, is kind of dog shit. Personally.
Yes, I agree.
But in the pod racing, it is pretty on point. And the effects they used for the sounds the pod racers use, like that.
They sound really cool. Yeah.
You know,
and it almost looks like a jet engine turbine or something.
It definitely does. Yeah.
Yeah, these things have some power to them. And I like whenever they crash, you really get a feeling of the inertia.
Yeah.
These guys are getting fucking mutilated when one of these crashes.
Oh, they're dying.
They're real bad.
I'm with you. That's one of my highlights of the movie for sure.
I do think that for the most part, the rest of the visuals are pretty bad. I do have a soft spot, though. I think that there's got to be something about space that is easier to CGI because it's not fleshy, so you don't have to worry about it looking rubbery.
Well,
most of it's just a starscape.
And we don't know what it looks like.
Right. And so space stuff to me, even if the CGI on a lot of the creatures, which are vast in this movie, there's shit burping and farting all over this movie. But the space stuff looks fine.
But like the battle drones...
Oh, those battle droids,
yeah, the droids, they look like shit. When you see like the fleet of the Empire, like drone carriers, I guess they are.
Oh, like, those blockade ships or whatever,
pushing across like the landscape, it looks like shit.
Yeah.
A lot of it.
Like the landscape looks great.
Right.
But
it's because it's real landscape.
But when you start doing CGI on top of CGI, you can notice it a lot more, and it's just not good. It takes away from the practical effects of the original trilogy where everything was built by hand. The aliens were in costume, so there were actual people standing there. The ships were cardboard wood cutouts. So and now you just sit in a little bubble and have a green screen behind you, surrounding you.
Yeah,
and everything's just put in there by a computer. It takes away from it.
I'm sure George Lucas saw the CGI as an opportunity to do things he couldn't do with his practical stuff.
Yes,
but I feel like he really missed an opportunity to use the magic that was the original Star Wars with the practical effects and the mini ships and all that stuff they actually filmed. If they would have done more of that, I think the whole set of prequels would have been better.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that really CGI works best whenever it's used to maybe take a model that doesn't look super realistic and maybe enhance it a little bit. But to me, though, like what you were saying, though, Preston, I think that to me that's why the final battle outside the second Death Star in Return of the Jedi is always going to be more impressive than like the opening scene of Revenge of the Sith, for example. You know, because it's just some guy on a fucking computer somewhere. Instead, these are people that are actually, like, you see an explosion in Return of the Jedi. They really blew some shit up to get that effect, you know? So
filmed in a high-speed camera, slowed it down so you can get all the effects.
Oh, yeah.
Now, the CGI explosions they added to it, I mean, they look good.
They do.
But that's not what we originally saw.
Well, it doesn't feel tangible.
Yeah.
When they use all the practical effects, it really feels like you could grab it because you could.
Yeah.
It was a real thing.
Right. It's definitely shot to a different scale, and it probably is not the same size of whatever it is you would imagine it looked like. But it is something that you could touch, though.
Yeah.
You know. And there's something just about the lighting and the skin in this movie. Sebulba, that's got to be one of the worst designs for an alien I've ever seen. I can't believe that people are scared of this fucking thing. Because he can't even scratch his balls without tipping over. I would just punt that motherfucker into the stratosphere and call it a day.
Which one's Sebulba?
Sebulba's the one that he was the one that was using the weapons on his pod racer to fuck with aliens.
The champion pod racer.
Yeah.
Yeah, that thing's retarded.
The little
as fuck.
raptor-looking thing.
Yeah, but he walks on his hands.
Yeah.
So what the fuck is he gonna? Is he gonna whip my ass? No, he's not. I'll just kick one of his fucking hands out from under him. He will be completely immobilized for 20 minutes. You know.
I had a real problem with the 9-year-old Anakin.
I agree.
Yes.
This was a bad place to start telling a story for these movies.
I had a real hard time with that. That was probably like the biggest distraction to me when I went and watched the movie the first time. And I'm not going to hold it against the 9-year-old. Okay, he's 9. So I'm not going to hold it against the actor himself. But
he wasn't good, but beside that, yeah.
You know, so I'm not going to hold it against him. But the fact that they try to use him as a vehicle to carry the story into who becomes Darth Vader.
Yeah, that's problematic.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's just the child actors from back then versus child actors now. I mean, this kid was horrible in Jingle all the way.
He was. And this is right around the time that Haley Joel Osment started coming on the scene. So
he was a great child actor.
Yeah.
This kid just wasn't.
Well, okay, so let's use that. You bring up a good point. Child actors, okay? So Natalie Portman was 18 when this movie premiered. So I'm guessing she was probably about 16 when she was filming it. 16, 17, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
But if you remember her from The Professional, she was
about 8 or 9 or
maybe 10.
Yeah.
And
she was great though.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Great in that movie.
So when you take that and you compare that to how she did in this movie, it's not Natalie Portman.
No. Well, and that's what I would always do whenever people would talk shit on Natalie Portman in these prequels. I was like, go back and watch The Professional because she's fantastic in that movie.
Watch just about any movie she's in. She's great.
Black
but
Swan.
Just what was written, how they were directed, it was just off, and that's going back to George Lucas taking the reins over all of that.
Right.
Well,
when someone else was the director, the movie was completely different.
Yeah.
From what I understand, the way they built the sets, where they built them only tall enough that you could
go to the actor's head.
Right.
Yes.
You could shoot eye level on the actors, and you don't have to worry about
they just CGI
what's
the rest
above
of
them.
Yeah.
And so that put the entire cast like kind of on the same like emotional level.
Yeah.
Because they couldn't immerse themselves into it, so they were not literally, but almost, figuratively, like they only could act themselves to a certain level because that's where the Siths were built to.
Oh, okay.
And it was all in a attempt to save money, I guess.
Yeah.
But what's funny is that once they hired Liam Neeson, they had to go and build all the sets like another 2 feet taller because he's 6'4",
right,
compared to the rest of the cast in the movie. I think that's pretty funny.
He's a tall motherfucker, man. Real quick, let's talk about Jake Lloyd and starting out the series with this, because George Lucas was very insistent on starting us out whenever Anakin Skywalker was 9 years old, which is 9 Earth years. So there's a lot of like human personification going on in these Star Wars movies that they talk about, in so many days or years or whatever. But anyway, I guess he originally went to Lawrence Kasdan and was asking him if he would be interested in writing the script for the movie, because Lawrence Kasdan wrote the script for The Empire Strikes Back. And if we've learned anything about George Lucas, once he has his mind set on something, there's really no changing it, unfortunately. And Lawrence Kasdan actually told him that he didn't think that it was a good idea. He's like, I think that this is kind of more your thing now, so you go ahead. He's like, but I would not start the story out with Anakin being this young. And I think that he's kind of right, because unfortunately we are left in the wake of all of this with a movie that really, in the grand scheme of things, doesn't add anything to the overall story.
It doesn't add anything to the story.
No.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I asked, who's this fucking movie about?
Yeah.
Okay? Anakin's 9 years old when we start this movie. He's 9 years old when this movie ends.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And we don't see him again until he's a fucking pissed off teenager.
Until he's almost 20 years old.
You're right.
Yeah.
Like, what did this movie give us?
Nothing. The only thing that happened in this movie, there were two things that happened in this movie that add to the overall story, but they could have been written off in a couple of seconds of dialogue in a movie that very easily could have replaced this one that actually did add to the overall lore. And that's number one, Senator Palpatine became Chancellor Palpatine, which you could have started out the trilogy with Anakin being older, and he's already the Chancellor, so we really don't need to see how he became the Chancellor.
Right.
And they also found Anakin Skywalker. And I always thought that, when it came to Anakin Skywalker, you could just as easily make him a kid that they're training, and they're like, holy shit, this fucker's strong with the Force. And so they're like, Qui-Gon, see what you can do with this guy. Or Obi-Wan,
And Qui-Gon, like, he could sense the Force was strong with Anakin because he could fly a pod racer and he built a robot. And
he checked his blood.
Yeah. His mechanical skill, his kind of view on the world, being so young, he kind of showed that there's something about him that's special.
Yeah.
And he saw that, and he took the opportunity to test his blood.
Yeah.
I'm surprised he didn't also look for semen or whatever.
But he's in there milking his prostate. Yeah. Go back to sleep.
And then once he heard the story about how he was conceived, and how he was birthed, and his mom said, I gave birth to him, I raised him. It was like, there was no father. So it kind of set off into his head, like, who is this kid? We have to get him back to the council.
So is he like Jesus?
Space Jesus.
Space Jesus.
Yeah.
Wow.
Through force manipulation.
Right. I guess part of the original script for episode 3 was that George was going to include the fact that apparently Darth Sidious, a.k.a. Chancellor Palpatine, actually was able to use midichlorians to impregnate Shmi Skywalker, Anakin's mom, from like across the galaxy.
Palpatine?
Yeah.
Yep.
Anakin's Palpatine's kid?
Well, that was in the script, but it never made it in the movie, so it really doesn't count. So,
yeah, that's the thought process behind it, that he
was
had
conceived of midichlorians, and
he found he was able to manipulate the midichlorians to make a child, to give life.
They should definitely explain that.
I agree.
I want to say they kind of did somewhere, but I don't remember off the top of my head.
So in episode 3, because unfortunately I've seen these movies way more times than I would ever care to admit, just to try to deal with it. But I guess in episode 3, they go to this thing that's supposed to be like this theater or whatever that Palpatine's at, and Anakin goes to see him. And he talks about Darth Plagueis and how he was able to use midichlorians to create life. And so I think people kind of took that statement and ran with it.
And to even cheat death.
Yeah. Yes, sir. I guess Jake Lloyd, the kid that played this, was Anakin in this movie. Basically, Star Wars has ruined his life.
What?
So I guess people, like, after this movie came out, would, like, see him on the street and, like, throw shit at him.
Oh, my God.
And, like, just fucking, like, talk shit to him all the time.
He's just a kid.
He's had lots of DUIs and shit.
Oh, that's not...
Like, no, it's real bad. And he said he's gone on record saying he wished he'd never been in this fucking movie because his life has just really turned to
crazy.
shit.
Because I'm sure it was on the up and up from Jingle All the Way.
Yeah.
And fucking Turbo Man.
Oh, yeah. My Turbo Man doll. Fucking Sinbad in that dumbass fucking movie. Oh, God.
I'll tell you one of the other highlights for me, though, in this movie was Darth Maul.
Everything with Darth Maul is cool.
Except he dies really fucking quick.
He does.
Yep.
And Star Wars has always tried to rectify that ever since then.
Everybody's like, is he still alive?
Yeah.
He has to be alive. He only got cut in half. Well, he got cut in half and fell down a shaft.
And showed it.
Who knows how long that shaft is.
It looked pretty fucking deep to me.
Yeah, his eyes were open and he blinked and whatnot on the way down, and we saw that.
Right.
But initial reaction is like, okay, he died.
Right.
But every lightsaber scene, like lightsaber battle scene that he's in is fucking awesome.
Right.
When he's got that double-ended fucking lightsaber, and the way, like, it's badass.
Mm-hmm.
It is.
So I was one of the people, I'm sure I'm not alone in this, but while I'm watching the movie, like, I'm cheering for Darth Maul the whole time.
Of course.
Like, oh, this dude's so fucking badass.
Take these Jedi. I don't know anything about them.
This dude is so fucking cool.
This guy's at least cool, yeah.
Fuck him up, Darth.
Not only did we get to see cool lightsaber fights that are infinitely better than what we have already seen, because before it just looked like fencing, just kind of jabs here and there. These dudes are just spinning, flipping. Then you got a dude doing flips with a double-ended lightsaber.
Mm-hmm.
Then you're just like, holy shit.
Yeah.
It's like, where has this been?
Right. Yeah.
And how can
this
you
is
beat
the
this
one
dude?
before,
yeah,
right?
it's like, how are you going to beat this guy? He's taking on 2 Jedi at once.
Yeah. That is one thing that's cool is you finally get to see the Jedi in their heyday a little bit in this.
You got to see Jedi actually using their powers.
As uninteresting as they are,
Yeah.
you do get to see that.
You actually get to see them use Force push effectively.
And
Force run, Force jump.
Yeah, Obi-Wan, even in one part of the movie, like, he's, like, hanging down that shaft.
Yeah.
And he's able to, like, fucking force himself up, like, using the Force, forces himself up to the next level, and fucking force wields Obi-Wan, or Qui-Gon Jinn's fucking lightsaber to his hand, and you're like, oh, these dudes are pretty badass.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Where was that in episode 4, 5, and 6?
There's the only thing you kind of get like that. He does some shit with the Force in Jedi a little bit, and in Empire.
Yeah,
he's using the Force to like throw shit at Luke.
Yeah.
So there's some of that, but yeah, no, you get a lot more of it
lifting
here.
the X-wing out of the swamp and stacking the rocks. There's little bits.
A little bit.
But they actually showed him Force running, which was cool. It was like, I didn't know they could do that.
See, I'd seen it in video games, but I never saw it in the movies. So,
What episode was it that Yoda is like flipping and fighting?
Episode 2. And he does it in episode 3 too.
Yeah, that for me that was the peak of all fucking Jedi shit.
See, I hated it.
Of course you hate it, but I think you're not gonna like it because it's not Yoda. But it was cool to see.
870-year-old Yoda doing his last lightsaber battle with a 90-year-old Christopher Lee.
Yeah.
But even then, it was you saw Yoda pull out that little tiny little lightsaber, his little steak knife lightsaber, and just start going to town, flipping all over. You're just like, what?
Yeah.
I was like, I remember Yoda as this little sock puppet.
Like, he sets his cane down so he can start whooping this dude's ass.
He's like, no, you mess with the wrong boy, and pulls out his knife and starts going off on him.
Yeah.
He's just like, where was this my whole life?
I'd like to talk about why an additional reason why I have a problem with the 9-year-old Anakin.
Okay.
And again, I'm not holding it against the actor.
No.
He's 9.
He probably had no business being in this movie anyway.
This movie, I think, is supposed to be about him, and he's kind of supposed to be the hero of this movie because he takes out the droid control ship by accident.
Right. Yeah.
That's my problem. He fucking goes to hide inside of a fucking whatever
the Naboo fighter thing,
whatever fighter ship he jumps into. He's like trying to hide in it. He accidentally engages autopilot, which accidentally gets him into the battle, which accidentally gets him into a droid control ship where he accidentally destroys it.
He gets shot once and doesn't die.
Yeah, and that's
crashes the ship in the hangar.
Of course, he soft lands it into the hangar though. Fortunately. One thing that's crazy is people talk about how Rey is like a Mary Sue character in these new Star Wars movies. She's no more of a Mary Sue than Anakin because he accidentally hops in here. This is after. Now keep in mind, let's go through all this Anakin stuff here,
all right,
okay?
Let's do it.
So he's a slave on Tatooine, right?
Yes.
But he has the time and the resources to not only build an astro droid, C-3PO, but he also has time to put together this pod.
Yes.
So is he getting paid, or is he just sneaking these parts out? Because you would think that Watto would notice an entire fucking pod, even if it's just the frame of it has gone missing. So I really don't know where he gets the time. I don't have time to barely watch these movies, every week. So these slaves on Tatooine kind of got it hooked up. I ain't gonna lie.
And he's with his mom.
And they have like their own house that they chill in. Like, I'm kind of thinking, sign me up for that. As Confused Matthew said online.
Maybe more along the lines of indentured servants.
That could be it. They still, they call them slaves, but it could be more like that. But they still are living pretty good lives. I mean, child labor laws be damned, I guess.
How is Wadu the slave master?
I don't know. I just beat the fuck out of that little bitch.
Well, that was my point. You mentioned what you would do to that other pod racer dude.
Yeah.
Wadu's not much more
I'd grab him by his fucking feet and pull him down if I was a 9-year-old boy and just beat the shit out of him.
Yeah.
Flick him in his little dick nose.
But I mean, he's keeping status quo and just they're getting by, they're living life, but you're being told what to do.
That's true.
So why kind of disrupt it if we did get free from them, then what the hell are we going to do?
Right. I mean, I guess that's a valid point. I really don't know what the mom does. She looks like a homemaker to me.
Yeah, I mean, she didn't really do. She's a slave. She didn't really do nothing.
Yeah.
But she eventually got sold off.
Right. Yeah, we do see that in episode 2. Yeah.
She's the Lord of Bride.
Mm-hmm. She is. So then we see Anakin, and later on we find out that he's like the fucking chosen one, not through any merit of his own. That's one thing that bothers me about the midichlorians, is because in Star Wars, up till I saw episode 1, I always thought of the Force as being maybe something that, with enough faith and if you had maybe the right amount of training or something like that, then it's something that maybe your average person might be able to tap into at some point. But it could also be, like a family lineage thing too, obviously. So people are naturally inclined to be stronger with the Force than others. But in this, we really find out that it has more to do with just your biology. So it's not nearly as interesting.
It's almost like a race of people.
Yeah.
Which is disappointing. Because I'm with you. Like I always felt like it was an ability everybody had. Like everybody in this room can run. Right. We all run at different paces and distances, but we can all run.
Right.
So I was kind of with you on that. Like I always thought like Jedis were kind of like athletes.
Yeah.
And maybe you're a little bit more genetically gifted.
Well, like maybe in your family you just have like the right legs for running, the right leg muscles, and shit like that. So that would be like the Skywalkers.
Yeah, you find, the Skywalkers would be kind of like the Mannings of the NFL.
Yeah.
Right? Like their dad was a quarterback. They're good quarterbacks. If they have sons, they'll grow up to be good quarterbacks. Of course. Like it makes complete sense.
Other people can learn to play football well.
Right. Yeah. And there's other good quarterbacks out there, but they're not a Manning. Right. So I always kind of thought like the Skywalkers, were like that. And so when you find out that it's actually a genetic thing,
right?
It's like, meh.
Well, and it kind of plays into it. I always figured that's why Yoda was so strong with the Force, was just because he had lived for so long and he'd had time to meditate and really tap into it and find out what his abilities were and stuff like that.
Super wise and
yeah. But instead, no, it's just because he had these bugs in his thing, and that's pretty much it. So then we see him, like Mike was saying, hop up in this cockpit, all by accident, accidentally take off after he accidentally destroys these droidicas, which are these little rolling shielded droids.
Lame.
Super lame. I would kick one of them over while it was coming by.
Shane's just a world destroyer, do you know?
Just by kicking.
Right. So then he flies into space. Right. Just kicking the fuck out. Jabba the Hutt, I'll just kick his fucking ass. Boba Fett, you're going to get your ass whooped.
Boba Fett's a legit badass, though.
He is a legit badass. So then we see him fly into space. He's actually flying into like a formation of these droid fighters. And he accidentally survives. He accidentally flies into the hangar where he accidentally soft lands and accidentally blows up the reactor, accidentally destroying all of the droids on the ground surface.
And accidentally gets away.
Right. That's a Mary fucking Sue, if you ask me.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. That's my whole problem with this whole movie.
Stupid. Really stupid.
There just wasn't anything to prove that he was the chosen one other than his midichlorian count.
Right.
That was through the roof.
He hasn't had any training.
He literally stumbles his way through this movie.
Yeah.
Just like Jar Jar.
Okay. Sequitur made.
I mean, other than his heightened reflexes during the pod racing, showing that he's the only human that can do it. Other than that, there's really nothing.
Well, real quick before we go into Jar Jar, I do want to say that in regard to the pod racing, I agree with Mike in that it has upped the speed a little bit and things like that. So it is entertaining to watch at times. However, to me, the speeder bikes in Return of the Jedi, they had more to do with the plot. I think that the movie kind of stops completely whenever it comes to the pod race. We stop getting story, and we're just...
The pod racing, there was plot to it. Anakin needed to win the race to get the parts.
Right.
And to be free.
Which he didn't know about, but...
Right. I just think that if it was a drag race, we could have summed it up a lot faster. You know?
But
you don't get the visual effects orgasm of George Lucas.
Right, and I'll accept it for how cool the actual race scene was.
Yeah.
I'll accept any plot holes you want to throw in there for that one.
Okay.
Because I'm with Preston. For me, it's one of my saving graces of the movie.
Okay.
Shout out to Warwick Davis, who's in the crowd.
Oh, I read about that online. I didn't see him, though.
The guy who...
he was the Ewok.
Ewok.
Yeah.
He was in the crowd?
Yeah, he was... was he with Watto in the crowd? I think he was right next to Watto in the crowd.
Oh. He was the one that... What was it? Wicket.
Wicket.
Yeah.
I wanted to call him Chub Chub, but that's what he said.
Chub Chub. Nobody ever better call me Chub Chub. I'll tell you what. I don't care how big I get.
Jar Jar.
Let's talk about this motherfucker.
This abomination.
I have one word. Why?
So, like I said before, Jar Jar did not ruin this movie. Lots the bad acting, the bad dialogue, the bad story, the bad characters. Everything ruined this movie, but Jar Jar falls into this funny class kind of like Jake Lloyd, where people hated this movie, and they just took it out on motherfucking Jar Jar. So...
Yeah, I'm with you, but...
Yes and no.
Yeah, he was pretty bad.
He was pretty fucking... I'm not saying he's good. Don't get it twisted, Mike.
I mean, he was the front runner for being what kids were to latch on to.
Right.
The small little comic relief to make the kiddies laugh. Mm-hmm. They'll go buy whatever bullshit.
Jar Jar Pez dispenser.
And I'm okay with that. Like that he's in there for those purposes. I mean, we did it with the Ewoks. The newest 3 movies, they had those little birds.
Yeah, they got the BB-8s and shit in there too.
Like I get it. Like you got to sell some toys.
I mean, even C-3PO kind of did some of that shit throughout the old ones.
Jar Jar.
Well, it's a different kind of humor. We get no less than 2 poop jokes in this movie. Keep in mind, this is the same franchise that in Episode 5, it had Yoda, a puppet, mind you, was talking about the Force being this energy that flowed through him, you know, and as long as he had the Force on his side, that's the only ally that he really needed. And then we cut to Jar Jar, who's over here stepping in shit and fucking getting shit on. He's getting his hand stuck in the fucking pod racer. I say they should have fucking left his hand in there. Told Anakin, no, he got out, we're good, and then just let fucking survival of the fittest take its course, you know. let him get fucking amputated.
Oh, Jesus.
Like, how much could have been avoided if you would have just left them on the ship when they landed on Tatooine?
Yeah. Yeah, he's starting shit,
Yeah.
trying to eat food from people that are selling shit, fucking up Watto's shop. You know?
Like, what navigating did he do in the planet core?
He didn't do anything.
So why would you need to save him? They could have not saved him.
Why is he still hanging out with him? I'd have fucking kicked his ass out a long time ago.
Like, he almost got you killed by the droid tank.
He's going to spend his last days wandering a Tatooine desert all by himself.
Even the scene that he's so, like, that's so iconic in this movie where he's swinging that orb around to, like, launch it or whatever.
Yeah,
he, like, almost takes out half of his fucking people.
Yeah, they're ducking and shit. They're about to get fucking smacked.
Like, I'm perfectly okay with timed comedic relief.
Yes.
Especially if it's going to try to sell some merch.
Right.
But it was just overdone with him.
Yeah, give me a Chewbacca any day.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm totally down. I think that the Ewoks kind of teetered on some of the shit we'd later see with Jar Jar 2.
I love Ewoks.
I know, Mike's a junkie.
I mean, I don't have a problem with Ewoks. I mean, it was kind of along the lines of, these are native people, they know the land, they can help us. It's guerrilla warfare.
It was basically a Vietnam allegory.
Yeah, it was.
And,
100%.
And they're clever.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I get it. I like them. But Jar Jar, I have no need for you, buddy.
Nope.
He can fuck right off.
Yeah, throughout the rest of the prequel trilogy, he wasn't needed. It wasn't needed. Is it a man or a woman?
It's a dude. Ahmed Best is his name, yeah.
Well, I'm talking about Jar Jar.
Oh, I don't know. I hope
female or male.
I hope that he doesn't have any genitals, because I really don't want him procreating. But
he even became a senator.
Yeah, that was pretty
He
dumb.
went from an ambassador to a senator. It's like, for what?
He can't do anything. He's not... He can't even hardly talk. He doesn't know English very well. How is he going to fucking communicate with anybody?
Just overdone. Just overdone.
While we're on the topic of this final battle that took place, apparently these battle droids were made super lame by George Lucas by design. He wanted to really make these things so that the Jedi, they would pose no threat to the Jedi whatsoever. He used the words, they cut through them like butter. And I'm like, what the fuck? Why would you want a bad guy that doesn't build any intensity? You know, whenever a battle droid walks onto the scene, instead it could have been like, oh, fuck, these guys, you know.
Build them like Terminators.
Yeah, instead these guys are just fucking idiots.
Like the bigger ones in episode 2 that debuted.
Right.
A whole bunch of those, but, I mean, forced by numbers.
I guess.
That's a lot of lasers pointed in one direction.
It is. I think what part of the thing, too, is he wanted to make the Jedi look super powerful, and so make them easy to mow over. I wrote down, this is the most disappointed I've been after watching a Star Wars movie. And that counts The Last Jedi in there, too, unfortunately. This thing was hugely disappointing for me at the time. And what's funny is I went through and I talked to this kid, and he was like, he didn't realize that I was a huge fan of Star Wars. And he was like, so what'd you think of episode 1? I was like, oh, it was okay. He's like, man, it was my favorite. And there's so many people that came out after this movie came out talking about how it was their favorite. And Kevin Smith's done it too. And this to me was always one of those that I was like, maybe I just need to watch it a second time and let it grow on me a little bit. But I never thought this was good.
So when you watched it again last night?
Still not good. I don't see that changing, bro.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, the expectations that fans had going into the movie, it was, you really wanted a how does it all start feel,
right?
And it really, I mean, you get that feeling with the Emperor, with Senator Palpatine. He sets his plan in motion, but as far as getting to where Anakin Skywalker goes to Darth Vader, how we get to Luke. How does Ben become an old guy in the desert?
Right.
We learn who Obi-Wan Kenobi is and kind of how he started.
Kind of, sort of. We don't learn that much about him, which it really is disappointing to me. I will say that the casting of Ewan McGregor
it was perfect.
Masterful.
Yeah.
Just brilliant.
I'm people that they casted in some roles were just perfect, and they work. But the script that was written for them is just dog shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
It's just utter dog shit.
Yeah, Portman would have fucking killed it if she would have had a good script.
Yeah. And a good director.
Because her whole twist in this film, like where she was a handmaiden pretty much, but she was actually the queen the whole time, like that was great.
See,
But they didn't pull it off.
Right. And it could have been great, yeah. Exactly.
Like the concept was great.
Yeah.
The execution was poor.
I guess my problem with that twist is they made like a big deal out of it in the movie, and it never really factored in otherwise. So I was like, who really cares? Yeah. It's just like the most pointless, just unnecessary plot twist ever to me.
But it could have been great.
It could have been, yeah.
It really only worked out once they caught the Viceroy.
Right.
It's the only time it really worked out.
Right, exactly.
Because even whenever she stepped up with the Gungan leader, they're just like, this bitch. Like, what the hell is she doing?
Yeah, that is true.
Like, you telling me Qui-Gon couldn't figure that shit out? Did he really know? I mean, he kind of talked like he knew.
Right.
Said, the queen trusts my judgment. The queen thinks you're a jerk. I think you're a jerk. Like, come on. Like, he knows you're the queen. You're not fooling nobody.
Exactly. Yeah, that was pretty bad.
So I have a pretty good idea why I think this movie's so bad.
Okay.
It's a political film.
Yeah.
It's all it is. Mm-hmm. We're talking about trade embargoes and fucking blockades. Like, it's all politics.
Yep.
Right. That's the problem that you have. So the beginning of this movie, to me, doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Because you have... So we open the film up, and we have the Republic, right? The Republic oversees all this shit. The Trade Federation's part of the Republic. Naboo's part of the Republic, and these Jedi are sent on behalf of the Republic. So basically, we've got the Republic was sent to negotiate with the Republic on behalf of the Republic about the Republic.
Right.
And so I'm just like, this doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to me.
Right.
I'm afraid. And that's something that confused Matthew pointed out, but... On the same token, too, even though none of this makes any sense, the worst and most egregious thing that it does is none of it's exciting or interesting, unfortunately.
No. There's one emotional tone through the entire film.
And except when they have Jar Jar stepping in shit. You know, we got genocide on one hand, and then...
Everybody is reading their lines in one tone.
Yes, they are.
The movie.
Yes.
So... I mean, the biggest thing the movie covers is setting up Palpatine's plan, his deception, because it is all his plan with the Trade Federation doing the blockade. He told him to do it.
Yeah.
So that's really the only thing that came out of it. But then again, he's in the movie all of 5 minutes.
Right. Yeah, exactly. He's really not in it at all. I don't even know what the dispute was really about. They never say what the terms of the trade
routes
deal.
Or whatever the deal was. I don't know.
They
really didn't go into detail on why they were blockading Naboo.
Right.
Now, the question would be, like, why did they choose Naboo? Well, Palpatine's from Naboo.
Right.
So he's like, okay, just do them.
Well, not just that. He even says later in the movie that whenever they overthrow Chancellor Valorum, that his the invasion of Naboo will get him sympathy whenever he was being considered to be the new chancellor. So I think that factored in too.
And he'd be able to kind of manipulate the Queen being from Naboo also.
Right.
It's like, hey, I'm on your side.
Mm-hmm.
Let's do this together.
Mm-hmm.
But backhandedly, I'm about to fuck shit up.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, there's a lot of backhanded politics.
Yes.
There is. A lot of stuff that doesn't make sense, unfortunately.
While they're in the Senate room and they're talking about the whole deal, sending the committee, he was in her ear feeding her some bullshit. This is about to happen. Watch.
Right.
Then it happened. Now this
Here's
is
the vote of no confidence.
Yep.
Yeah, and all that shit, yeah.
So he was definitely pulling the strings, which I like that part about what's going down, because the Emperor is also a big part of the story.
I do like the Palpatine's plot throughout the entire movie. He's playing a pretty big old game of chess here.
Yep.
You know, yeah. If that was the whole trilogy kind of revolved around that more, I could even get down with that, but it's not in this movie that much.
Which he foresaw all this, so he's just going through what he's seen, and there was nobody else that's going to be able to stop him. And Anakin was part of that plan.
Yeah, exactly.
We're not told that, but he is part of that plan.
Right, exactly.
He even makes comment, look forward to seeing what your career holds for you in the future.
Right at the end there, yeah. His stuff isn't bad. I didn't know for the longest time that he was the same emperor that we would see later in the stuff. Like they never say his name or anything when he's talking to like Darth Maul when he's all cloaked up and stuff. Yeah. So yeah, of course I was in high school, so I was an idiot. One thing that does bother me, I don't know if there is maybe a missing line of dialogue or something. There's all these blockade ships that are around Naboo at the end of or at the beginning of the movie at least. At the end of the movie, they're all gone. Yeah. There's just this one droid control ship. Yeah. Was there something in there saying, well, we pretty much got this wrapped up here. You can send these fuckers home. Something like that, maybe? Or
I don't think there was.
I didn't understand because they blew up the ship in the movie, and I was like, "Well, there's still like 30 of them, right?" You know, like that's cool and all. I'm happy for you, but
there's more in Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah, those ships show back up quite a bit in this.
They're actually all get involved too, but. Yeah, it just goes from 30 ships to one. Yeah. In the span of one movie. It's like, how's that a blockade? What are you blocking?
Yeah.
You're blocking one route into this giant planet.
Yeah. That's not even a blockade ship at that point. It's just that droid control ship. So, yeah. I don't get it. Let me ask you this, Preston, and maybe you have some more insight on this than I do. How do the shields in Star Wars work? Because...
As far as ships or shields in general?
Well, so like we're talking. I think give me some if you don't mind, bro. Mike's gonna go get us some water.
All right.
So in, for example, Return of the Jedi, right? We get they have a shield. Now, granted, keep in mind that shield generator is on Endor.
Right.
So it's a super fucking powerful shield. It's actually not independently, being generated from the Death Star itself. So at that point, we see where they don't have the shield generator deactivated, and Lando Calrissian's like, "Oh fuck, pull up!" And so that's whenever. So you get the impression that if they hit this thing, it's going to be like a brick wall.
Right.
But in this movie, they have shields, and maybe that's the whole idea: is that it is created by a shield generator on a planet below. But on these ones have shields, and we see people are able to fly into the shields, but it looks as though they're not able to fire through the shields. I guess.
Like in the instance of Anakin flying into the hangar bay.
Yeah.
So how come he didn't smack them?
Right. Exactly.
I'm gonna assume around hangar bays, since they kind of have their own little shield door. And they had ships coming in and out of them. They just might have accidentally left it open.
Okay.
I'm going to stick with that.
Or maybe they just don't activate one because they figure nobody will fly a ship into it.
They're going to be flying in and out here. Just leave that section open.
Yeah. They're going to be coming and going.
Yeah.
Fuck them. Yeah.
They're not going to be able to get in here because we have all these turbo lasers.
Right.
So,
it's a little bitty hole,
Hangar Bay 17 open.
Right. So they can come in and out. I guess there was that I had. We also see him flying through the shields in The Last Jedi.
Yeah.
Which I really, and maybe I'm giving him kind of a free pass, I really kind of don't expect Disney Star Wars to hold a lot of the same technical stuff just because it's a different writer. Like, I hold George Lucas's fat to the fire more so than I would like Rian Johnson's over whether people are flying in the shields or not.
Yeah.
George Lucas should be consistent with himself, Yeah. So I don't know. But whatever. So nobody knows. Why would the Gungans, if they are not an underwater species, why would they start an underwater civilization?
I mean, they said they weren't friendly. Well, they were at peace with the Naboo. But
they weren't like allied with them,
right? And they weren't at war with them,
right?
But they felt that they were better than the Gungans, so they're like, "Fuck them, we don't need them." So we're going to have this massive grand army and build our own city underneath the water and not even have to worry about it.
I guess so. I mean, that does make complete sense.
They can swim.
They can swim. They swim well, and it looks like they can hold their breath pretty long.
Mm-hmm. Well, if they're amphibious, I assume they can breathe underwater.
They could very well.
I'm going to assume they're.
I mean, frogs don't.
Frogs,
but frogs can hold their breath a while. So, I guess the thing that I was wondering more so about that. So I could even see like humans having an underwater like city or something like that. Mm-hmm. But you would think that there'd still be some sort of other civilization other than this underwater city of theirs, that they'd have something on land. But.
I mean, they did say they were going through looking for the rumored underwater cities. So
there could be other shit.
They said it plural.
Yeah, okay.
So whether they're just all Gungans in the underwater cities or there's other life forms.
Yeah, okay. I'll give you that one. I wrote there's no emotional punch in the Darth Maul fight, but it is still awesome. So, there you go. They even had Darth Maul show up in that Han Solo movie.
Mm-hmm. We found out he was still alive.
But after it flopped, they're probably not going to mess with it anymore. So, fuck it.
You really don't. You're just like,
too bad.
He was there for 2 minutes.
Yeah. Well, so what I heard was that they're actually trying to set up a villain for the Obi-Wan Solo movie, and then after Han Solo didn't do well, then they just dropped the whole fucking thing.
I couldn't see him doing an Obi-Wan movie anyway. It was like he sat in the desert for 18 years.
See, yeah, that's kind of where I'm at.
He just chilled, watched, and made sure Luke didn't get into any bullshit,
right?
Or they didn't find him.
Mm-hmm.
But
that's probably why he stopped him that one time, is he just was keeping tabs on him. Was like, this dude's getting kind of far off the res, you know. Yeah. We go find and see what he's up to.
They started calling him Crazy Old Ben.
Mm-hmm.
Because dude talked about he was a war hero and no one believed him. And like, how you gonna make a 2-hour feature film about him sitting in the desert for 18 years?
Or like, is there like a Sarlacc? Or,
like
that's not a movie.
He was in hiding.
Yeah,
he was hiding on purpose.
Yeah, he's trying to keep a low profile out there. Yeah.
I thought he was keeping an eye on Luke.
He was keeping an eye on Luke,
exactly.
But his main purpose being on Tatooine was to be in hiding.
Yeah,
hiding in plain sight.
He didn't want to draw attention to him or Luke.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I don't know.
I mean,
I guess Ewan McGregor laughed whenever he found out the title of this movie was The Phantom Menace. He was on like the red carpet going into an award show, and there was like a reporter, like the news had just come out that day and he hadn't heard it yet. And so this reporter said, "So what do you think about the title The Phantom Menace?" And he just laughed in her face.
Really? Yeah. I mean, I get it. But the whole setup for there being a Phantom Menace kind of wasn't a focal point of it.
No, Darth Maul was really kind of a side note. I think Darth Maul was just like a lightsaber.
He wasn't even the Phantom Menace. They're talking about Palpatine.
Oh well, yeah.
And it was barely
Palpatine
showcased.
Wasn't really in this movie.
You saw glimpses of it happening, but I mean, I guess with the main question that Mace Windu, which we should talk about him too.
Oh God, yes.
He asked Yoda, he's like, "Oh well, which one did we kill? The Sith or the apprentice? The master or the apprentice?"
He's like, "Oh,
yeah, well, that's the question."
Right. Samuel Jackson. What the fuck are you doing in this movie, bro? I just don't understand. He doesn't really strike me as the type that's like Star Wars, yeah, you know. This isn't really in his wheelhouse.
Or being a powerful Jedi master, like in the ranking of powerful Jedi, Mace Windu is like number 3.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
He's behind Yoda and
Anakin.
Oh, really? Damn. I know that, and this is where it gets
Samuel
really...
cannot play Samuel L. So, like,
it was awkward. It was awkward.
Him
saying, "You're not going to be a motherfucking Jedi in my motherfucking console." It was hard to see him
just
try to be wise.
Yeah,
it was like that's
and like
what?
Not raise his voice. Watching him be monotone is really weird, man.
Yeah,
I know that, and this is how geeky this shit gets. Apparently, there's 7 different styles of lightsaber dueling, from what I understand.
Yep.
And apparently, Mace Windu is the only one that is versed in all of them. So he's supposedly a pretty fucking badass lightsaber guy, but we never get to see that much of it, unfortunately.
And even based off that, they mentioned multiple times that Yoda is the number 1 lightsaber duelist.
Right. Yeah.
And the only person that could rival him was Anakin.
Oh, interesting. I do know that Mace Windu's action figure from this movie is one of the most, it's worth the most. And the reason why is because they hadn't yet created a lightsaber for Mace Windu. So they made it yellow. And they only made him yellow for this movie because in the next movie we realized that he has a purple lightsaber. And so... I guess the yellow-bladed lightsabers were the fuckload of money or something.
Really? The action figure?
Yeah. It is.
And which he wasn't even supposed to get a purple one, but they screwed up the website and had him with a purple lightsaber on the website.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so it's like, well, we've already advertised you with a purple one, so you got to stick me with that, right? And George was like, I guess.
That's cool.
So he's the only one with the purple lightsaber.
Right. That's neat. I always heard that you just asked for one. So if your story is true, I like it better. So, how young do they want their Padawans to fucking be? Holy shit! Anakin goes up there at 9, and the Jedi are like, "Nope, he's too old." What the fuck? Is he supposed to be a little fucking single-celled organism or what? You know, this is ridiculous.
I mean, I imagine 4 or 5 years old, maybe a few years off.
Well, they said in The Empire Strikes Back that Luke was too old. That's a fucking way understatement.
I mean, Luke was 18 years old.
Yeah,
but they knew they had to train him.
Right.
So,
why? Because of who his dad was?
Yeah, I mean, they knew who he was, knew what he was capable of.
Right.
But with
Anakin, he's the only real Jedi, anybody that was strong with the Force that wasn't bad, you know, so yeah.
But with Anakin, it was like, he's supposedly the chosen one. Mm-hmm. Even if he is, it's like we have a school full of Padawans that we're teaching on the daily.
Right.
We don't need an older kid that's going to be behind all the other kids.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. So if you went to 9-year-old, or you had a 9-year-old that you were like, I want to put him in kindergarten, we're going to have to come up with another idea. Yeah, I got you.
It's like having a baseball team full of 9-year-olds that's been playing for 4 years, and you stick the new kid who's first year ever playing baseball.
Right.
So you're just like, yeah, we're going to have you play catcher. We're going to throw the ball at you, so you ain't got to do anything.
Right, exactly. Yeah. He would be good for basketball.
Yeah.
So, I do like Padme in this movie. Well, Queen Amidala, I guess. I think the fact that even if her decisions are kind of stupid at times, I do think that she actually is a cool character, and it's kind of nice to see a female lead that's not just, chilling or being a damsel in distress. She's proactive in this movie, I guess, which is nice. It's unfortunate because by the time episode 3 rolls around, her role in the films is pretty much to have children and die, So.
Yeah, I mean, she moves up to being in the Senate, being a senator.
Right, yeah.
So, by that, most of the fans knew that was going to be Luke and Leia's mom, so you kind of had to see where Leia got her strength.
Right. Do you think that the pod races in this, Preston, work better than the horse race thing that was in The Last Jedi? Because to me this seems more alien. That seemed more like something that they were just kind of emulating the Kentucky Derby. But this seems very otherworldly, the pod races does, to me at least. So
yeah, with the pod races, like I said, they had plot behind it. There's a reason, and there's a reason why we had to get invested with the pod race. There wasn't a reason why we had to get invested in the horse races and freeing the horse. There was no reason for that.
This is a weird caveat in that movie. Yeah,
like, hey, save the horses.
Right.
I know we're trying to save our
fleet and all, but yeah.
Yeah, I'm here to get map and a key to get into this huge Star Destroyer. But let's stop these horse races on a side note.
Yeah, save the horses.
It's like, what?
Yeah, it's pretty bad. Pretty bad.
At least with the pod racing, we had something to get behind.
Right, yeah.
We needed Anakin to win. Because then what?
Right.
Are we still talking about this movie?
We are.
We are.
We are indeed. I also wanted to say that, did either of you guys ever watch Whose Line Is It Anyway?
Yes. Which
Drew Carey?
The Drew Carey,
yes. Yeah.
Do you remember Greg Proops on that show? The blonde guy with the glasses?
Yeah, it's had the
kind of the Jerry Curl looking
Jufro.
Yeah. He's actually the voice of that announcer in this fucking movie, the two-headed thing that's announcing the pod races or whatever. I thought that was really weird. I was listening to something that pointed that out the other day. If I remembered, I'd give him a shout out, but yeah, it was pretty weird. Is that alien that's making fun of Anakin, is that Greedo? It's like, you're never gonna get this to fly. Ho ho ho. All that shit.
I guess they never really said his name.
I've read that it's supposed to be.
They said the one kid's name.
Yeah.
But they didn't say that alien's name.
Yeah, one's like Kitster or something like that.
Yeah.
Is that kid's name? Yeah.
I mean, I was told that kid get kick rocks. Like, he's in there talking shit about my
He is
body.
talking. Why don't you fuck off?
And then once I won, he wants to try to jump in the party. Hell no.
No, why don't you
Get out
suck
of
a
here.
fat dick? Yeah. Fucking naysayer.
Little asshole.
I hate the fact that Anakin built C-3PO. I don't know if we've talked about that. But I do.
No, but how you're going to build C-3PO, but we've already seen a model of C-3PO earlier in the movie on the Trade Federation ship. It's like, so you either made this thing out of spare parts or you found one of those models and you've just been fixing
I
them
kind
up.
of figured he found one of the models, but I don't know.
It made it sound like he built them from scratch.
Right.
So
I've been putting them together for Mom to help her out. Yeah. Well, maybe he just found like the casing for. I don't know. I think it's stupid. I don't like that.
I mean, it shows his mechanical ability, I guess.
Yeah.
His ingenuity.
Mm-hmm. Well, once again, that
if I had all the parts, I could build a robot.
Maybe.
If I had all the parts?
I don't think. What if you had instructions?
Nah, I mean, I know this thing clicks to that thing.
How about
You
programming?
couldn't wire C-3PO?
Sure, I could.
You're a crazy
You guys
person.
are underestimating
No, you are
liabilities.
way wrong, bro. There's so much wiring and
I can
bullshit.
fly the fuck out of a pod racer.
I can see you crashing into a wall.
Champion
Fucking
all
rock.
day. It's in my DNA.
As long as we have to go through any of the little canyons, we good.
I'm through those canyons sideways, bro.
He was weaving in and out in between those like stalactites and stalagmites and shit.
It's called pod racing. That's what we do.
Uh-huh. I love that thing. Looked like it would be really weird to control. So I guess the way that it controls it has two handles on it, and I guess it has like tank controls. So this, if you pull back on the left one, then the left pod kind of slows down.
Yeah, they're called yaw levers.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
If you throw them both forward, you're gonna take off like a fucking rocket.
Right.
Why does Sebulba though get to use weapons on his?
He didn't really use weapons. He just kind of threw some bullshit in the other people's circle.
Well, he did, but it shows that one where he like used the flares on his thing to like make a dude crash, and like shit like that. And Anakin even says like, well, Sebulba flashes flares at me. I saved that pod mostly. And I was like, so he's done it before. Has nobody ever reported him? Because I would be all about like, yo, this guy's cheating, bro.
I don't think there's a whole lot of regulations.
I'm going to quote a great American classic film.
Okay.
Days of Thunder.
Rubbing is racing.
Rubbing is racing.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
That's a good reference right there. Your brother will be impressed, Mike, if he listens to this. He's the one that recommended we watch Days of Thunder way back when we started. So
we're going to. It's going to happen.
It's on the burner. I don't know. I guess that's really all I have. We did talk about quite a bit of shit, though.
Yeah.
So
everything that needed to be hit on, we hit on it.
Yeah.
Not too much else that you shit on the movie about.
No. Talking about episode 1 is quite an undertaking. Because everybody said everything there's to say.
Yeah, they've been shitting on this movie for 20 years.
20 years, yeah. But I think that we added some stuff in there that maybe it'll make sense. Maybe it hasn't been said before.
Just over the course of the whole prequel trilogy, just the bring lightsaber duels to life.
Pretty much.
It was a big deal for me.
Yeah. Well, I will say, too, that that final lightsaber duel with Darth Maul and Obi-Wan, the whole thing, even with Qui-Gon Jinn in there, that to me is the only lightsaber duel in the prequels that doesn't look like they're dancing. Like, these people look like they are generally concerned about the outcome of this thing, and they're worried about their lives and shit. And the other ones, they look bored to me. But this one, they carried it well, I feel like.
I mean, Count Dooku's with both of them.
Right.
Anakin and Obi-Wan. Both fights they had were really, really good. Just they can choreograph better than before. I mean, they could only move the lightsaber in certain directions because they had to try to keep
rotoscope it.
Yeah,
all that shit. One thing I will say, I actually went through and watched a documentary, and this is real weird. Back whenever I think it was this one came out, I found a lightsaber, one of the plastic ones that came with a little DVD, but you can actually find it on YouTube now. But it's a documentary about how lightsabers kind of changed over time, and that George Lucas, apparently it was his idea that in the first movie, episode 4, it was his idea that these things would generate so much power that whenever they're activated, they would just be like super heavy and super like not maneuverable at all. And so that's why they were holding it with both hands, and stuff like that. And then over time that gradually turned into like them holding with one hand, and stuff like that. And then by the time we get to this, George Lucas' entire thought process had changed. So now he's thinking, if it's just light, then these things should be super fucking light, And so, like, because light doesn't really... I mean, light does weigh something, but it's obviously imperceivable to a human,
Like, the only weight in it is in the hilt.
Right. Just the handle of it, yeah. Whether it's activated or not, that shouldn't matter. It was his idea. So that it really kind of freed him up, I guess, to do some crazy shit that we'd never seen. So, of course, I'm sure back in the day, especially with episode 4, there were some visual effects limitations, too.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Overall, I feel like you've been kind of an apologist for episode 1, though, Preston. I'm glad that you were kind of here to play devil's advocate.
Yep. I'd gladly take that role. I try to find the good in some bullshit.
Right.
I'm still going to call out bullshit.
I'm glad you bring that up, because I was going to ask, as we wrap up the conversation about this movie, are you glad it exists?
No.
I am.
I'm not. I wish it had been a different movie.
Yes and no. Yeah, because Star Wars, kind of piecing together the story, no, because it was done horribly.
I like it because Star Wars. That's it.
Well, and there are people out there that are like, it's Star Wars, I love it automatically. And I'm like, go watch the holiday special and fucking tell me that again. Because just because it's got Star Wars on it, don't mean shit, bro. We'll find that out when we watch next week's movie.
Which is...
Are you ready, Mike?
Lay it on me, man.
Mike's a big old Ewok junkie.
Yeah.
So next week we are watching Ewoks, The Caravan of Courage.
Oh.
The made-for-TV movie.
So I've never seen it.
Oh, boy.
Oh, man. I've seen it. I
have it on DVD.
Oh, man.
I do.
Your Saturday is going to be popping next weekend.
Oh, bro. Yeah. You better get some of those drinks in you pretty early on Saturday.
Saturday, I have 3 high school graduations I have to attend.
Oh, and then you get to cap it off with Ewoks.
Yeah.
So this is the first Ewoks. I actually mentioned last week that I grew up with the second Ewoks movie. I've only seen the first one a handful of times because after watching the second one and all the action and cool shit that's admittedly crap, but I found it appealing as a child. And so this first one, after going back and watching the first one again, you're just like, it's real bad. It has a narrator and shit. So yeah, we'll have a good time, I think.
Cool.
What'd you watch this week? Actually, Preston, what'd you watch this week? Anything good?
What I watched this week? I don't think I watched anything this week.
Yeah?
No. Not so much in the way of movies, no.
Nothing really?
Into the Blue, I think me and Michelle watched that last Sunday.
With Paul Walker and Jessica
Alba? Yeah. That was dumb.
Yeah, but
she doesn't understand why they had the great angles that movie had. It's like, that's the whole point. So you have Jessica Alba's ass on screen.
Right. As long as we get her ass and Paul Walker's abs.
Yeah, 100%.
That's the whole reason that movie was made.
Yeah.
Guaranteed. That movie's garbage, bro.
Yeah.
That's really too bad.
Other than being in the Bahamas and a place that I want to go and swim in the water and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Other than that, the movie was trash.
If you want to watch a good movie with that, I recommend Forgetting Sarah Marshall. Because it's not the Bahamas, but it's the same sort of tropical setting.
Yeah.
That's a way better movie, so...
I like the Caribbean better than Hawaii.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
See, I would take either one right now.
I'm good. So. I like the Caribbean, too. I watched The Dirt.
What's The Dirt?
It's a movie about Motley Crue.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
It's fun.
I don't know anything about it. Is it a documentary?
No, it's a movie.
Oh, a movie. Okay.
Yeah, it's like the making of Motley Crue, basically.
Oh, like this is Spinal Tap?
Yeah, kind of. Not too far.
I love that movie. Me too. You know that was a Rob Reiner movie? The dude that did, he was Meathead, but he did Princess Bride and all that shit.
Yeah.
It's crazy. This week I went through, what was it that I watched? Man, I couldn't tell you. Oh, we did watch some more of that Dark Castle thing. I watched the movie It because I'm trying to get amped up for the It Chapter 2 coming out.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I watched that. SpongeBob with the kid. And I actually was sandbagging Preston, but a couple weeks ago, you'll appreciate this, me and the daughter, we watched Flight of the Navigator.
Okay.
And she was at first kind of like, I don't really care. And then like it got to the end of the movie, she was like, damn, I should have been paying attention. Like, this is fucking cool. So, but no, that's a classic. They've been talking about remaking that one for years. So
I thought, remember your last video, you said you watched Glass.
I didn't. Mike did.
Yeah. We watched that a couple weeks ago, too. Probably the same weekend y'all did. That movie was hot garbage.
Yeah.
You thought it was real bad.
Oh, man. Talk about you build 3 different stories.
Right.
Really well, and then you get to this movie, and it's just a pile of shit.
Wow.
It was fucking pointless.
That's really disappointing, because I think that Unbreakable is one of Shyamalan's greats, and I felt like Split was kind of like a return to form. Like, I really liked that movie.
Yeah.
I was hoping this one would be good.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
And then it turned, spoiler alert, the twist, if you even really care, the twist is that there's a secret fucking society that's been suppressing the superhumans.
Yeah, they're the Avengers. Oh, okay.
Like, fuck this. I was like, what?
Well, that's world building, I guess. Good or bad.
Like, go back and make it. We're Signs 2.
Lady in the Water 2. I would actually settle for a Happening 2 just because it was so bad. I am totally down for more of that shit. What an entertaining movie that was, man. So yeah, there's that. I don't think we watched much else. We did start this. So me and the wife, we don't really see eye to eye on a lot of stuff as far as TV shows and movies go. So we watched one called. It's one of those investigation discovery crime shows, but it's called Obsession: Dark Desires, and that's actually a good show. So. Each one of them's unrelated, so we really don't have to keep up with it. We can just pop one in. It's nice. It's a good show.
Very cool.
Yeah. Final thoughts, Mike, Preston, either one, both.
Final thoughts. If you haven't seen Star Wars Episode 1, I suggest you watch it at least once and then shelve that shit.
That's pretty much what I've done. I've seen it more than once, but it's on the shelf.
If you're just starting in the Star Wars universe, period, and you want to go in order and watching that one, you're going to be majorly confused.
That's it. I would recommend you watch the original trilogy first, because even though supposedly that's the middle of the story, it does a way better job of introducing everything than this does. This goes into it assuming that you already know everything you need to about all this shit. So, final thoughts, Mike?
No. I'm over it.
Mike was super excited, but not no more.
No, I'm done. It might be because I'm still recovering from last night.
That could very well be, yeah.
Shout out to Skylar and Jordan, by the way.
Oh, yeah. Congratulations.
They got married.
Right.
I went hard.
Went hard in the paint.
Hard in the paint.
Might have been walking around the wedding with a bottle of wine in my hand.
I'm kind of glad you didn't wear your army uniform. So.
Oh, definitely no. Apparently, I looked like a drug dealer.
Oh,
when I was wearing my suit last night.
Yeah.
So my lovely sister-in-law told me.
Fantastic. I'm sure what you're going for. I guess I really don't have. I was gonna mention something, but I really don't have anything else, I guess, to add. So. I will say that if you want to, you can always contact us. Our email address is cheesymovie@yahoo.com. You can like us on Facebook, Casino Royale with Cheese. You can look us up on iTunes, Instagram, wherever you get your podcast from, or YouTube, Casino Royale, W-Cheese, all one word. And I also want to say thank you, Preston, for joining us.
Thanks, P.
Thank you.
I always find your Star Wars insights very insightful.
We'll do it again.
For what?
We'll do this again.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Maybe.
Fuck off.
I don't know. You know, Full Metal Jacket's got 27,000 hits. How many do you think this will get there, Preston? No, we'll definitely have you back, bro. In fact, I'd like to have you back sooner. So it's all good stuff, man.
Name the time and the place in the movie.
That's it. Whenever we discuss an Indiana Jones, I feel like that would be rife for opportunity. So
Indiana Jones and the Crystal Skull?
Ooh. Well, that one we have to wait to do because it was number one, even though it shouldn't have been. But anyway, everybody, I want to thank everybody again for joining us, and make sure that if you care at all, then you can join us next week for the first of the Ewoks movies, and I'll be seeing you then.
Bye.
Later.
I'll be back.